So in the September we'll start to gear up and get everything ready here, and then we incubate coho and chum eggs out of the local streams. So we've got Rocky Creek, Stocking Creek, Bush Creek, Holland Creek, and we have worked in partners with Stamenis and Halalt, incubating some of their eggs at times back and forth. So we roughly take up to 300,000 eggs in a year. Is a good year. Last year was very slow. Mother Nature can be a little fickle at times. What we'll put in here was we'll put in the big fish, you know, and then we'll take the eggs and the sperm out of the males, and we'll incubate them. And in the wild, like I think the success rate somewhere in the wild, like 2 to 5% is good, and because a lot of them, you know, succumb to predation and whatnot. And then in here we have about an 87 to 92% success rate.
That's excellent. So how many would you release in a year?
On a good year, 250 to 300,000 eggs would be released. Yeah,
that's good.
So and like in the wild, like, you know, if each female has anywhere from, you know, 2,500 to 4,500 eggs, if each one survived in the wild, there would be streams full of fish.
Right.
But a lot succumb to predation, high water flow, low water flow. Food for other predators in the stream.
Right.
Like, you know, like right now, anything that's caught in there now in a stream, you know, with the water, all of a sudden it's going to be 30 degrees this week, and we're going to lose the water. So then things can get trapped in pools. Raccoons, birds, snakes, frogs. You know, they get landlocked so quick. I mean, you know, we go from no water to too much water all of a sudden with this all or none flows, and that's really what's, you know, affecting the returns all the time, right? This here's where we put the eggs in there, and they'll stay in here. You know, we'll probably put them in there in October, November, December, January, February, March. They'll start to get little eyeballs and turn into little salmon. And then we'll put them back in there, and then we'll put them in here, and then here we feed them for a while, and until we release them. Yeah, this is all a volunteer-run hatchery. We get a small grant, operational grant, TIP it's called, through DFO for maintaining, you know, our fuel, our alarms, food and stuff like that. Everybody that has run this hatchery through the Ladysmith Sportsman Club and community is all volunteers. Once the fish have hatched and turned into fry, we'll put them in here and smolt them, which means if we can keep them, the longer we can keep them, the better they have of existing or surviving in the streams. Like, we don't want to dump them in that small, because we dump them in, the trout gobble them all up, right?
Show me how small.
That small is usually when they're, you know, it's an inch long. So if we can raise them, you know, to that size, they have a better success rate for living. One of our concerns is water supply. If we had water 12 months a year, we'd keep them, you know, 1 or 2 years and get them smoked, you know, a lot larger to let them go. But with the water supply, it'll shut off here probably in the next couple of weeks, right? This is good for us to have water flow because June was so wet, and then now we still have water flow. So, but we have no fish here right now.
So what would you need to have happen to get this
We'd have to do some water testing, get permission from Mosaic, of course, to drill a well and see water supply. I mean, it could be underneath us here, but that water supply, even if it was 2 degrees warmer than the creek snow water, that would speed up the incubation period, and the eggs would hatch quicker and then therefore grow quicker. And it's one of the things, like right now, like a lot of the rivers, you'll see with the sunlight and water temperature, you can get oxygen deprivation from the you know, the algae and the stuff growing on the rocks. So it'll deprive them of oxygen. But, you know, so here we're lucky it's cold and clean, but it's cold, right? And limited source. Right? You know,
interesting.
Because come October, I mean, it'll flood and come down the road and everything else when we get these all or none flows instead of the slow trickle effect. We, you know, we don't have a big snow belt up there melting in the old growth timber patches anymore. And so it's not like the trickle for 12 months. When the sun hits it, it's gone. So what this is designed for, this is a sediment pond, right? So any fish that we have in there, if they poop, it goes into here as sediment rather than all the material goes right into the creek.
Unfortunately, like for the broodstock, the salmon hatch, like the catching broodstock for the eggs and looking after them over the winter and releasing that, there's only about 6 of us who are doing it like on a regular basis. We could always use more. Someone who wants to actually come out and learn about it.
Do you need money? Do you need donations?
We can always use we can always use donations.
Okay. And how much is a membership to the Sportsman Club? What does that cost?
$75 for a family. Yeah, $75.
75 for a family for the year?
Yeah. And, you know, it covers you liability insurance in case you're, you know, injured doing a club activity.
Right.
And then a lot of people too will join because you have to belong to an affiliated club for firearms, restricted firearms ownership, and also some of the areas for forced ATV use,
Right.
liability. Young people out, fishermen, all walks of life, they're all welcome. Like I say, we've had some great group of guys volunteering over the years here and made some good friendships and connections and projects and whatnot. And yeah, thanks to Mosaic for the land use agreement here each year, and Pacific Salmon Foundation and Department of Fisheries and Oceans for you know, all the permits and stuff years ago to get this stuff. There was a lot of volunteers. Greg Smith spearheaded this years ago to get it up and running, and like Bob and Clay have been here forever too. So it's over 32 years now running. Yeah. So.
How old is this hatchery then? You said
32.
32 years it was. Wow.
Apparently it was built in 1992.
Yeah, Bob and Clay might know.
So you would
better.
have been just a teenager.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons we got the new tanks and stuff in. Just
Upgrade.
It's built in '92. Not much. Slowly, but it needed a bunch of upgrades.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people want to volunteer money, we could use money.
Money's always
We're doing
useful.
quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
Okay.
upgrades
Yeah.
and get new equipment and stuff. So.
And you know, we got some great guys like, you know, that come and do stuff, work on like Heart Lake Roof and Jesse, and Hank Arson's coming to do gutters, and we've got a lot of guys, you know, and like when we've done our garbage cleanup, you've seen the mountains of trash we've moved, and we've got our general contractors, you know, like Howie always helps us, Dave Stalker helps us, you know, Jag helps us, you know, we've got a great community too. When we do projects, you know, they always give us, you know, a little extra. Like I was involved in a allocation for guide outfitter, First Nations and hunter allocations, and like some of the statistics, like there's 110,000 BC resident hunters, and with those hunters, it's like people like us, hunters or fishermen, when they take, they give back. And I mean, you know, there's got Ducks Unlimited, which is a huge area, you know, a huge volunteer group that runs, buys habitat for ducks, you know, creating it, saving it for future generations, and the same with steelhead groups and trout groups, and Mike with his fishing group. I mean, a lot of these guys, you know, they give back lots,
huge.
voluntarily.
Yeah.
You know,
Is
like,
there anything you want to add, Glenn?
Yeah, so if anyone does want to volunteer, like you don't have to be a hunter or a fisherman.
No.
Like I don't hunt, I don't fish, and yeah, and I work in finance, so like this is totally like new yet.
Yeah.
So like, it's open to anybody.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when we've done things like the incubation and stuff, we've had, remember that one time we had all the little Boy Scouts on the bank helping get the
Yes.
fish. And, you know, we give eggs, Glenn gives eggs to the schools. And, you know, you get these little kids and it teaches them about the salmon, the importance of our water supply, and keeping our, you know, our watershed clean and all that stuff. And, you know, it's neat getting the little kids involved and stuff like that for their future, right?
Yeah. Are you helping? Do you like to help here? Do you come out here?
Have you
and
ever
help?
caught a fish? Do you ever catch a fish, Roman? Did you catch a fish?